to today's bag making class. So in today's class, we're going to be making a shoulder bag, all right, and I'll be taking you through the tools and materials we're needing for this project in a minute. But before we get onto it, I would like to say thank you very much for watching this video. If this is the first time you're watching us, I would say that you subscribe to our channel and hit on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video is uploaded. As usual, we don't only do bag making videos, we do jewelry making, soap making, millinery videos, as well as the bag making videos. All right, so what you're going to need for the project, I'll go first with the tools. So your scissors, your blade will be for cutting, and then you need your ruler as well, or your tape measure. Okay, I also have here some craft specs that you would need. And then for me, I'm using my pencil as my marking tool. Now let's get on straight to the things you're going to use for the actual bag itself, right? I have a tag here that I'm going to be putting, a metal tag that I'm going to be putting on the bag, all right? And that's here. I also have two D-rings, two of them. And then I have my bag strap in gold. Okay, so these are the attachments for the bag. Okay, you're going to need a circle of circumference. So I have cut them on leather. So these are not real leather, these are faux leathers, and I've cut two discs out of them. All right, the circumference of the actual bag, the finished circumference should be 26 inches in circumference, right? But I'm going to show you how to get the 26 inches in circumference circle on a piece of paper. So grab your A4 sheet. We're going to do a circle here on a stencil before we do the actual thing. So grab your A4 sheet, put it into 4, okay? Then with your cutting edge, you're going to be measuring a radius of 4.25 from the corner here, all right, inches. So 4.25 from here, you come out 4.25 inches round. As you get a 4.25, you put a mark in there, and then the ruler still stays in the corner here as you use your finger as a pivot to take the ruler round. Open it, you get a circle. All right, you get a bigger circle. So you're going to transfer the circle onto a foam. All right, if you've been in this class for some time, you know that we usually use a craft foam in shaping our bags. So you transfer the circle onto the foam, and you're going to cut 2 of those. Okay, 2 circles out of that. When you finish with these 2 circles, you're going to transfer one of the circle onto your leather that you're going to be using for the bag. Okay, so you're going to cut 2 of those as well. So this is what you're going to have. So this is the main foam. So when we finish with the bag, the actual size of the bag should be the size of the foam. So the excess space we have on the side is going to be our working space or our stitch allowance. All right, so this is our stitch allowance, and the stitch allowance you're leaving on the side is 1/2 inch. So you do 2 of that, right? Remember to leave your seam allowance because that will be your stitch allowance. Okay, so we have 2 bigger discs in leather and 2 much smaller discs in foam. Right, I'm going to set those 2 aside, and then we get on with the remaining things we need to cut. So now you have to cut 2 foam strips. Okay, one is 18 inches long and 2 inches wide, and then the second one is 8.25 inches long and 2 inches wide. All right, so you're going to cut another strip of fabric, and this is going to be for the lining. All right, 3 inches wide and then 19 inches long. So it's about 1 inch longer than the original 18 inches for the longer strip. Now we're going to start putting little bits together as we work. So I'm going to bring the foam back, and we're going to wrap the foam with our inner lining. Okay. Okay, so this is where we are at, and I'm going to show you how to fit the zipper. Okay, so the measurement I have in front of me for the length of this patch for the area for the zipper, that is 9.75 inches long. Okay, and then the width is 3 inches wide. Then the size for the foam I used, that is 0.75 inches wide and 8.25 inches long. So basically is to make it quite shorter than the leather, which is going to be the main body of the bag. Okay, and what I have done here is to create a space where I'll be going to fit my zipper. So I'm going to take you through what I did exactly. So you first put your leather into 2 equal halves to find the center line, and when you've done that, you're going to draw the center line. That is basically the length of the zipper teeth. So you measure the zipper teeth you're going to use, and then you use that as the length of the line you're going to draw. So that's around 8 inches. All right, so you draw your 8 inches line, okay, for your zipper line. Then from your 8 inches you come in half an inch and make a dot there, come in half an inch and make a dot there. Okay, so you first draw your center line, then from the end of the center line you come in half an inch, put a dot marking there. From here, come in half an inch, put a marking there with that legs. So you're going to connect this point to the end here and connect this point to the end here, and do the same on this side as well. Okay, you're going to cut through your lines. You're going to cut, this is going to be your cutting line, then you go this way and that way, and then this one that way. So you should have it looking like this. Okay, then you're going to grab your foam, and with some glue, okay, elastic glue, ohu glue will all work. You just put some on, like a strip on the line, and stick your foam on the sides. At this point, what I'm going to do next is to put some extra glue on here, and then lift the leather and drop it on top of it. Okay, so this is what we have. When you look at it, I've just glued all these ends onto it here. Okay, so this is the look we want. I'm going to stitch it onto the back, onto this piece like this, and then we take it from there. Okay, but before I go, let me also talk to you about this other bit that is going to go on the rounded side of the bag like that. Okay, so I've just had to cut a leather piece for this piece, this bit here, and I've left my stitch allowances on here. Okay, so the length of the leather that is going to go around it, the length of it is just the same as this one, but make sure you're going to add seam allowances of about half of an inch all around it as your seam allowance. Okay, so what I'm doing, and then you just put some glue on the side here, and then stick my zipper down before I go to the machine and run a stitch on top of it. I believe that will make it quite easier and will make my zip stay in the right place. Okay, so we're going ahead to do the sides that is going to be holding on to the strap. Okay, and I have my D-rings here. I cut leather of 1 inch, as you can see, and then the length of the leather is 2.5, okay, 2.5 inches. I'm talking about inches. So what I'm going to do is put some glue over here in the center like that, and then fold both ends to meet up in the center. Okay, so I'm going to fold this end in to meet up in the center, and fold the other end to also meet up in the center, and then I'll put some weight on it to keep it down. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to put some pressure to keep it down, and then put some weight on it. Then we'll give it a stitch if we have to later on. So I'll do that for both of them. All right, so this is what I've done for the zip. Okay, The good trick for sewing leather on your usual sewing machine is to rub a little bit of machine oil just at your stitch line, okay, so that it will glide smoothly under your machine. That is a trick for stitching leather on your usual sewing machine. Okay, so we've done that, and I've also done the hooks for the sides. Now what I want to do now is to connect the whole bit to it just before we join it to the back. So I'm going to try and find the center of this strip. So you shall fold it into two and then connect the side of my hook here to it. Okay, I'm going to connect it just on one side, and then I'll stitch this on top of it to get my very long strip as well. Okay, so I'm going to run my stitch on and have it looking like this before we join it on the rounded shape. Okay, so I've connected this side to both sides to it together with the bag holder. I'm doing it for the other end here. So as usual, you find the center of the bag, and then you're going to place the D-ring connector like this. Okay, so you place it with the raw edges meeting each other, and I'm going to bring the other side to on top of it, and then I'll run my stitch at 1/2 inch. Okay, 1/2 inch stitch to take this excess off, and then come back with it. Okay, so this is what I have done. We are still doing trying to get the bag to take the shape. So I've connected it all to this side. I'm going to run a stitch to hold everything together, bring it back, and then attach the other bit as well. Then when we finish, we'll turn it inside out. All right, so this is what we have. I've turned it inside out. I hope you can see it better on all sides, and I've also attached the strap to the ends. Okay, there are a few more things I want us to add to the bag. So I cut a strip of leather 2 inches wide, 13 inches long. I'm going to put it into two like that, and I'm going to stitch it on 3 sides. Okay, and then I'll bring it back, then we take it from there. Right, so I finished stitching on 3 sides. Okay, this is where I want the flap, the twist lock to be. So at this point, the twist lock is actually not going to be it's just going to be there for kind of embellishment, because we already have a zip on the back. Okay, so I'm tracing out the inner box of the twist lock. I have it there. I'm going to cut this out, and then we attach that bit to it. Okay, so you would see that from previous videos that we fixed this twist lock before. Okay, so this part comes in two. So this is how they come as a pack like this. Okay, and this is the part you're fixing first up over here. I'm going to put some glue to keep this in place like this. Okay, and then do the same for the other end. There we are. All right, so I'm trying to figure out where we're going to be putting the flap, and it looks like this bit here is the best place to put it. So I'm putting some markings in there. Okay, to help me out before we go in to do what's next. So I make 2 notches here, and then I push the legs of the twist lock through it. All right, so we're nearly there. We fitted our twist lock, and then I've also added a little bit of embellishment on this side. This is not compulsory, it's just very, very optional. And this is what we have at the back. I made 2 holes to hold it to this, and then we've also attached our strap, metallic strap. Okay, now the next thing to do is to stitch some lining for the inside of the bag to give it a very clean finish. So I just cut the shape of the bag and added an inch to it. I'm going to stitch at 1/4 of an inch all the way around up to these points, because this is where the opening is. Okay, so I'm going to run a stitch onto it, and then we come and finish it off and attach it to the bag, inside of the bag. Okay, so this is the inside of the bag. All right, I stitched it up here. I hope I could open it better for you to see, but this is what we have for the inside. All right, and this is what we have. So we've come to the end of today's project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe as well if you've not done that already. Just before we go, I'd like to talk to you about Podcast with Sheila. So Podcast with Sheila is a podcast that is sharing positivity around the world through the sharing of real life experiences, and that is another channel of mine on YouTube. We are also on Apple Podcast and on Google Podcast. We've done in the past stories, real life experiences on marital abuse, relationship abuse, on child abandonment, on somebody who had gone from nothing to a millionaire, and somebody who has gone from a billionaire to nothing, and how they are all coping, their experiences, and what they have done after the things they've been through. What we usually say on that podcast is life is a learning journey, and we learn as we go on. Sometimes we also learn from people's experiences. So basically, this is what the podcast is about. We've been in existence for nearly 2 years. We've also done a story on somebody who survived COVID. Just check on it. Click on Podcast with Sheila on YouTube and you'll find us. I'm also going to leave a link to the podcast in our description box here on this channel so that you can follow it up. Don't forget to leave us a comment, your suggestions and everything else, both on this channel, on the podcast channel as well. Until we meet again.